All right, fellas, Brian Bay back here. We are going into week 4, so this is post week 3, pre-week 4 episode. No guest this week, but Mark is back and better than ever.
What's
Probably
up?
copyrighted on that, but I like to say it. So, of course, like normal, we're going to start with Greg and his awards and his shits.
All right. So week 3 was a wild one, and I'll get into the awards here. First off, we have the MVP of the week was Antoine. He put up a whopping 315.0 points.
And Greg is frozen.
And I'm frozen.
He's
Can you
back.
Yeah.
You're good.
Good old internet. So then we go into the bum of the week. Our bum this week was Jacob. He scored 3.78 points. The nail biter of the week, we have Nick got the nail biter over Matt, the elder Lawrence brother. He beat him by 11.2 points. And then finally, the blowout game of the week was Antoine over Brian by 151.72 points. Also, the first crying Jordan of the year goes to Brian. He lost by more than 100 points. And in the words of Marcus Steele in the chat, this is just assault, man. This is assault. Paraphrasing, but that's the recap of the week. Congratulations, everyone. Congrats, Brian, on your first crying Jordan.
And, I would like to say, I want to die when I saw A-Chain go off for 60 points on my bench. But that's all I want to fill in before we move on. But I did. Not that was going to get me the dub, but it would make me feel better that he was in my lineup rather than getting ridiculous points on my freaking bench.
Basically, Antoine was the Dolphins this week of the fantasy world, and you were the Broncos, unfortunately, for you. Not unfortunately for Antoine.
It was rough, but it's okay. It's okay. All right, we're going to recap the week 3 picks. I'll start with the celebs since we did have Andy have some celeb picks. The ones he got correct were Greg winning, Andy himself winning, and B. Walt. So basically, he got 3 points, celeb points, whatever you want to look at them as. I only got 1 correct, which was Andy. Greg got himself, Andy, B. Walt, and the game of the week, Nick. Correct. Mark got Andy, B. Walt, and that is it. So now our grand total is Greg is now in first with 11. Mark 10, myself 6. So I'm not doing too well in pick 'em either. But that is all I have for the quick part recap. Mark, you had some stuff to say about a recap of the past week of fantasy?
After all the years I've been playing fantasy, this was the weirdest week I've ever seen. Just scoring wise. Like the amount of points that were scored by players, like you don't think A-Chain's going to go off for 60 points and get 4 touchdowns, and the Broncos just shit the bed and give up 70 points. Like, that was just a free-for-all. You got Keenan Allen going off for an ungodly amount. Like, Jamar Chase going for 12 receptions and 146 yards. Like, yeah, that's believable because he's done it before, except the receptions, I think he got more by 1. But just, like, it was crazy. Just, like, the level of scoring and the tiers that they were going on. Like, it was just absurd. Just, like, in non-PPR leagues, like the one I'm in. Not in this one, but a different one. Like, those points were off the charts, too. Like, it was just wild. It was a wild week in just fantasy points and scoring. And I have to give a shout-out to MDOT. I didn't even know you can create a poll with the level of shit-talking, like, that I laughed myself for probably, like, a good 5-10 minutes. Just, I didn't even know you could do a poll. So, props to MDOT for creating a poll for Brian. Just in itself, it was hilarious.
Naturally, I awoke to that too. I did not. My old ass didn't make it through the whole damn game. So I wake up. B. Walt's already texted me. Like, I didn't know you could do a poll, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? I 8 notifications on Sleeper app, text out the app. I'm like, what happened overnight? So I'm sitting there taking my morning Duke, and I'm reading and trying to recap myself. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I did a quick rebuttal in the morning, but it wasn't my best work because, half asleep, don't know what the hell's going on. But all good. But I do agree with you with just the crazy amount of points. Like, obviously I wasn't going to start A-Chain and going off for 60, but it just if you had any Dolphins players, you were just on fire for sure last week.
Yes.
I mean, the scores were just. I mean, Antoine went off with 315. Greg topped 200 at least 218. And I think pretty much Pocket 8 Kevin out of nowhere too with 223. Like he's got a shit team and he's just going off. But I think the rest of the league was under 200 at least. So yeah, it was.
Yeah, Mark go against the Dolphin. I had Mostert in the starting lineup.
Yeah, it was not fun. Not fun by any means.
It depends on what side of it you're on.
Yeah, very
It
true.
was fun for me.
But yeah, no, it was. Yeah, I don't know what to say, man. I didn't think Antoine was gonna figure that shit out.
Yeah, it also didn't help. You had Keenan Allen too, Greg, that went off for 52 points.
That's true.
Devontae went off for 44.
And Logan Wilson.
Greg messed up that 1982 internet. He's still on dial-up.
Feels like it.
But all right, so that's kind of our little recap. Anybody else got anything to say about recapping? All right, so we'll go into next week's picks, and we'll all throw our picks out there. First game I have on the docket is Brian versus Greg. I picked Brian. I think I'll have a bounce back week. Our players are going to play pissed off because we lost to a trash ass Antoine. That was embarrassment to the city of Cincinnati and all its great fans. So, Greg, who do you have?
Yeah, I think I'm picking myself. I
Pick
want
himself.
to keep this
Not a
train
fan of
rolling.
Cincinnati, from what I hear. Not a fan of Cincinnati.
I'm a fan of myself. I'm here to win the chip, so I pick myself. I know it's not a surprise. So I'm not really going to go into it, but yeah.
Mark, tiebreaker.
Ooh, I think I'm gonna go with Greg on this one.
Oh, turncoat.
You lost to Antoine. You failed me, Brian.
That's true. Anton is a crap. He is a crap.
But I think it'll be close, honestly. But your quarterback kind of scares me going against Detroit, Brian.
Yeah, he might not necessarily get the start. I got a couple other quarterbacks. I haven't necessarily set my lineup fully yet. Don't forget Danny Dimes had a good week, so I might bring him back off the bench.
Nah, I mean, you could do Stafford playing against Indy.
Yeah.
Are you trying to help him? I mean, what's going on here?
I'm just giving insight there, Greg.
I will say I think it's gonna be close just because historically, I don't know, I have the data in front of me, but I feel like in all the leagues me and Brian have been in, it's always close.
Even our championship, that was a field goal off in was that Sunday night or Monday night? It was a primetime game for sure. We were down to our kickers, and that was actually a close shit game. I mean, neither one of us broke 100, I don't think.
I don't think so.
It was just a real odd game for a championship, but it's intense because we were in it. And our field goal kickers were just going ape shit. So
yeah,
you are correct. I think we are historically a close game.
I think hey guys, I think it might come down to 5 points.
5 points. Nice. He's got props, folks. He's got props. All right, the next game is Team MLaw 2303 versus Pocket Aces, aka Kevin. I personally went with Mark because Kevin. Greg?
I went with Kevin, and I feel bad because Mark just picked me, but Mark, I'm not trusting Justin Fields. Even although if Denver plays the same defense they did against Miami, I'll probably be eating my words. I like Josh Allen. I feel like Joe Mixon's been running hard this year so far, and I hope we feed him more. So I'm kind of being a homer there as well. And That's really it. I mean, there's Travis Kelsey, and that we've seen that that's all the Chiefs really have to throw to. Their wide receiving core is not really doing anything, but maybe there'll be a Taylor Swift curse.
I
There,
think
I
there
said
is.
it.
I
Taylor
think there
Swift
is a
on our
curse, Greg.
podcast.
I think there is a curse. I have a question for you, real quick, Greg. Do you think is Saquon playing this week? I know his question was, is he in?
I think so. I think so. I don't know how he's going to be, but I think with the Giants being 1-2, playing in New York on Monday Night Football, so he has an extra day of rest. It might be similar to the Joey B stuff that we were following last week, where that extra day might actually help him.
Yeah, and I think
But
that gives
I don't
Kevin
know if
maybe
it's
a
100%.
shot there because I don't trust Gainwell for shit, or B Ryan, but he started Gainwell last week. So, Mark, who you got in that tiebreaker there?
I'm gonna take me. I
So-
really need Justin Fields to fucking figure it out like real quick, and then I need Zach Wilson to figure out how to throw the ball, preferably to Garrett Wilson. So that would be fantastic for me because it's been a dramatic letdown by far. These Ohio State players just shitting the bed on me.
They're
I'm the
cursed.
trash.
They're cursed. They're cursed because you took their asses, and they should be on my damn team. That's why you're fucking it up. You're fucking it up for all of us. You took them, you cursed them, damn it. I think that honestly, not to be an apologist, but I think part of Fields' fantasy woes are based off he's trying to pass more, and obviously running quarterbacks just racking a lot of fantasy points. So I think he's trying to, get chemistry with his receivers on the fly, and it's kind of hard to do in the NFL. Anything
Are you blaming Chicago's coaching?
I don't want to point. I mean, it doesn't help.
They are just ruining this kid.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that.
I have a question for Mark real quick before we move on. So you said that you hope that Zach Wilson learns how to throw the ball, and you said preferably to Garrett Wilson. But if it's not Garrett Wilson, do you at least hope it's to the Jets and not to the Chiefs?
Yes, by far.
Okay, just checking.
But I mean, at this rate, somebody from the Chiefs just might go by him and he might just fall down. So
butt fumble too?
Exactly. Not even a butt fumble, the ghost fumble.
Oh no, not the ghost fumble.
Jesus. All right, next one we got is Hawaii Shark Bears versus Boondocks 87. So Nick v. Jacob. And I have taken Nick mainly because he's coming off a win, and I don't know why he's winning, but somehow he is. So that's my main thing there. I don't know. I mean, obviously, Jacob's got him on quarterback with Mahomes v. Cousins, but Jacobs just seemed like he is having shit luck at getting dubs. So I'm just kind of going with the hot hand. I mean, I think on paper, it's a pretty even match. But I'm going to lean Nick. Greg?
I also think it's even, pretty even. I'm going to go with Nick as well, partially because I believe T. Higgins is going to have a bounce back game against the Titans secondary this coming week. And on top of that, as you're talking, Brian, as you're talking, I was looking at it and I see he could double up with Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson this week. I don't really see the Vikings going 0-4. And they're playing against Carolina, which I think will lose. So I'm going to go with Nick in this one.
Perfect. Mark?
I am also going to go with Nick. But just on I think it's going to be very close, but I'm going to go with Nick on that one.
Next game we have is Team Shipwrecked 513 versus Team TPJN. So Jimmer v. John. I don't think it's going to be a fun game at all, but I'm going to lean for Jimmer in this one. I think Hurts is going to have a good week against Washington. Burrow's still kind of limping around. Not that he won't be able to put up some points, but I lean. That's their star players, and I think just Hurts being healthier. So I got to lean for Jimmer on that. And I like his receivers better with Metcalf and Flowers rather than Brown and Davis. I mean, Diggs is legit, obviously, but I just don't think John has the manpower myself. Greg?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go with John this week. I'm going to pick my brother finally. I don't really have a reason. I hope Joe keeps improving. That's obviously for real life fandom. If Joe does well and he targets Tyler Boyd a lot, which is on Jimmer's team, that will basically cancel out. I do think Jalen Hurts is obviously a beast as well, especially if they keep getting those goal line touchdowns where they seem to always get to the 1 yard line and they just run it in with Jalen. So I think that will be something to watch for. The thing that I'm curious about though is the Eagles. They do play the Commanders this week. I do think the Eagles are better, but division games, you never know. So I'm just gonna go with my brother. Yeah, that's all. I was trying to fill in space to try to think of a good reason, but my gut just says John.
I feel it. Mark?
I'm gonna go with Jimmer on that one.
How dare you?
I think he just has a better team so far.
You don't like Joe Burrow?
I like Joe Burrow, but I just think that Tim just having Joe Burrow and Stephon Diggs isn't gonna let him win the game. Like it did this past
I'm
week.
just taking from the bag of tricks. Brian.
You sons of bitches.
Don't blame me for your saying.
Anti-Bengal.
He is, though. All right, so next game we have is Team Freddie W1 versus Sunshine. So Fred v. Matthew Lawrence, the Sunshine. I'm going with my guy Fred again, but he better get his head out of his inevitable ass because this is do or die this week, Fred, or you're done. You're off. I'm off the bandwagon if you lose again, and your season is over. So stop effing around and get your head out of your Indiana-shaped butt. But I'm gonna lean him. Deshaun, Trevor. I mean, I don't know. I think they're fairly even. I don't know what even Lawrence has been doing. He's been putting up okay points, but I think Deshaun's due. I mean, he's been 27 points last week isn't bad for Deshaun. So I think real life he's not playing as good as fantasy life. So I think people are dogging on Deshaun a little more based off his real life stats. That doesn't always correlate to fantasy. Brees Hall is inevitable to break out. I die by that sword. My other league, I keep starting him, so I just keep thinking Brees Hall he's going to break out one of these weeks, and it may as well be against the Chiefs because the Bengals could sure use his help right now, kind of edging that gap to the 1 seed. Brown for Philly, I think he's going to go off. Pittman, solid, and of course he's got Dicker, the fucking kicker. So, Gregory?
Yep, I'm going with Fred. I don't think Matt's team's very good. I just want to say it. I'm not a fan of it. I do think he has him in the quarterback category, but I don't know what the hell's going on in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence. I don't think Deshaun Watson is very good, but I agree with Brian with fantasy wise, he's getting enough numbers, it sounds like. Somehow, because the stuff I've seen a lot of bounce passes, and as far as I know, that still does not count in the NFL. But in general, I like Fred's team better. Pollard, which Brian already talked about Brees Hall. I'm gonna go with Pollard. I do think the Cowboys are still a legit contender. I don't know what happened with them against Arizona last week, but I think they're going to bounce back this week against New England. And I just think Pollard is a big piece of that. And if anything, the Cowboys might set up the pass game to stop the run. There's weapons on both levels. So I'm gonna go Freddie, the beard.
So Greg, since you called Matthew Lawrence trash, and we already know M.Dot's trash, who do you think is more trash, Matthew or M.Dot?
Oh, Why don't you let Mark pick, and I'll let you know after Mark picks.
Okay, Mark.
I'm gonna go with Fred on this for the sweep. Simple fact, because Matt has Barrios in from Miami. Just based off that, because that's a solid pick. I don't know what he's doing. I know he's better in fantasy than this, and this is not good, Alice.
Yeah,
So,
you've been on your brother's wagon the whole season, and it feels like it's coming to an end. The
he
wagon
has
wheels are falling
Braxton
off.
Berrios, and I can't vouch for him on that. I can't. There's nothing I can say that I can say, oh, he's going to do this good. No, based on the simple fact he has Barrios and trash. Done.
Trash can. Okay, Greg, back to you. Who's the trash can?
Well, before I tell you, because I know you're ready, I will say I agree with you, Mark. I don't know what my brother's doing either. I can't speak for him, but I do think your brother's team is worse than mine. So I'm gonna put that out there as well. I think the trash can is okay. So here it is. Marcus is a fan of a stupid team in real life, and strictly talking NFL. I'm not gonna go with the TCUN stuff. Can't stand the Steelers, obviously. And we're playing against his other favorite team, I guess, the Titans this week. Because that's what I remember. And then Matt's a really nice guy, and he's a big Nas fan, which that's good. But fantasy speaking, Matt's bigger trash. His team is terrible, and like Mark said, and Mark, you said it too, Barrios. I mean, what kind of team does your brother put together here? At least Marcus has McCaffrey. I mean, he has stupid Steelers on his team, but he has McCaffrey. I don't know. I mean, it's no hard feelings, but I'm going to go with Matt Lawrence as the official trash of the league.
Wow.
Shot fired.
No longer the Rumpke dump. It is the Lawrence dump.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa. Whoa.
Greg said it, not me. I'm just quoting. Things go to my ear, change a little bit in my brain, and it comes out my mouth.
Hey, the way my team has been playing, I think I'm part co-owner in the Lawrence dump there.
Lawrence dump,
Oh.
the trash can. All right.
Well, at least you're owner.
All right, we'll move on a little bit. We got next game up. Team Kingdom Minded Poppy versus B Walt. Antoine versus Brandon. I went with Brandon due to, I believe, Antoine's going off was a fluke. Still don't buy into the Jerome Ford trade fully. I don't see it being a great trade for him. To it, Tankalogiva, he went off. I feel like I don't think he's going to go that off again, but I think he's still going to be pretty steady. Swift, I mean, shit. Taylor Swift's brother. What can you say? CD, he's inevitable. Deontay is inevitable. Adams, I don't like when teams go so, and this is all jokes aside, when teams go like so far off one week, I always feel like they have a down week the next. Like even players wise, like I'm hesitant to start A-Chain, and he just went off for 60 points. But in my head, I'm like, well, I start him this week, he's going to give me like 3. It's just how the fantasy gods want to work. So I feel like that's part of it too, is that I just don't think you can maintain that 2 weeks in a row. So I'm going to go B Walt. And I think he's got the horses to do it. I think he's kind of coming into his own as much as he wanted to tank. I think he's inevitable to slide into the playoffs probably. That's just my opinion. Greg, who do you have?
Yep, I went with the hot hand. I'm going with Antoine in this one. I do think this is going to be the game of the week B, not the official game of the week, but the other game of the week. It's going to be close. As Brian was talking, I'm looking over their matchup some more. I think Jackson on Antoine's squad is going to have a hard time against the Browns defense. They're legit. But if I scroll down, I notice, Antoine has Myles Garrett. And the defensive players have been getting some solid points in this league. So I give him that. I do like Tua. I'm curious to see how he's going to be against Buffalo with a division game, and Buffalo being a better opponent than Denver. But I do think so. There's Tyreek Hill though on Antoine's squad. So do those cancel out, or does the fact that Tyreek can maybe get some yards kind of gives the edge to Tyreek over Tua? But I mean, long story short, I think this is gonna be a close one. I'm gonna call it not quite Fox's game of the week or America's game or whatever they call it, but it's gonna be like the Sunday night game. We're gonna have Chris Collinsworth on this one.
Oh God, what? No,
But it's national. I don't know. Now here's a guy.
Here's a guy, Mark. Who do you got?
I'm gonna take Brandon on this one. I like Tua. I like Swift. CD. I think he's gonna come out for one against New England. Deontay Smith is coming into his own as a wide receiver. And then I mean, really, it's gonna be tough for Tyreek to get open. I think against Buffalo, I think always the divisional matchups are tough. So I mean, it's gonna be hard on Tua. I do like Ford, but I think it's gonna be hard for him to score against Baltimore, just because I mean that D is kind of coming back into like that old Baltimore D, if you will, kind of. They still got a little bit of work to do, but I mean he does have Adams who went off, but I think it's Brandon.
I do think that the Cleveland Baltimore game is going to be one of those old school games. A lot of defense. So
I think the Buffalo Miami game has potential to do that too.
Probably because everyone's hyping up the game too. Just like they're like, oh, this is going to be a crazy game. Miami's put up 70, and then we still love the Bills, and then it's probably going to be like 13-9 or something.
Or I mean, it could just be a wild shootout.
Is it the game that Tua gets knocked out? He's due to get a concussed.
That's not
last year he had that first concussion in week 3, and because of the short week that went to week 4 in Cincinnati, where he got concussed and the whole hoopla. So it is week 4 this week, and it gets a division foe.
Yeah, they're gonna want to take him out of the game. Maybe not purposely, but just hard hitting, division rivals.
Yeah, like you're not going to score 70 on us.
No, they're not going to have any part of that. So finally, we do have the game of the week. The week. It is To Infinity and Bijan v. Steel City Football. So Andy and Dot, the two big trash talkers of the league, that rumor mill has formed an alliance. So I wonder if they'll even talk shit to each other, or they're going to be old butt buddy-ish. So we'll see if anyone's got the balls to talk in that one. I have a feeling that they won't. So, but I'll break it down for you. My end, we got Geno Pickett. Obviously, Pickett is trash. Is that really anything with that say? I don't care who the other quarterback is. Pickett's like the new Mitch Trubisky. He'll be backing somebody up in a couple of years. I'll give McCaffrey, dog. But he's going up against a young man, Bijan. So I think it'll be a good little battle at running back there. Jacobs over Gustav Edwards. Get the fuck out of here starting that guy. Pickens, trash. Get out of here. Shouldn't even have that last name. Carl Pickens should be disrespected by that. Bateman, get out. God, no. Nakua, his time's coming to an end. That little diaper dandy is dying. Fragglemoth or whatever his name is, get out of here. Versus Higbee, come on. Higbee's way better than Fragglemoth. Sky Moore, who the hell is that? I don't know who that is. And then the rest is defensive trash. So, obviously, I'm going Andy.
You're taking M-Dot?
I'm taking Andy. Andy Caps, Mr. Hot Fries himself. Andy. Greg?
Yes. So before I make my official pick, I am going to go with the fact that overall the running backs are better on Andy's team. McCaffrey is a dog, I agree. But he has Bijan Robinson, and then you got Jacobs going against the Chargers, another division game. And then Gus Edwards. Although, even though I don't think he'll score a lot, remember it's gonna be an old school game, I think. So, but still, the Browns defense is gonna shut that down. So
3 fumbles by Edwards.
there you go. I think Olave is a beast. I think Tampa Bay got exposed. I didn't watch the game Monday night, obviously, because our Bengals are playing. But I think that Tampa Bay is not really I think they're a pretender. So I feel like the Saints are going to take care of that, and the Saints have had their number even when they were good. But anyways, I like Olave a lot. More in Chicago, I don't right now. Just trying to force Justin Fields to play a game that is not his style. I think the Denver Chicago game is going to be a turd of the week in real football. And with that, I don't really think I have anything else. It kind of gets, yeah. I mean, Andy, I see he has Delpit on his defense. Cleveland, he's been beasting it in the games I've watched. So you should rack up some points and tackles, maybe even turnovers. But I will say Marcus does have Derwin James, even though I haven't been following the Chargers this year, but I know in general he's a hell of a player as well. But I'm going to go with Andy in this one. Andy over Marcus.
And Mark, are you going to go with Marcus?
I think Andy's going to go 4-0.
In America's game of the week.
Even though the Steelers are trash, let's be honest, but their offense has been terrible. They need to fire their offensive coordinator. But I just think Andy has overall a better team. I mean, just looking at, I do like Nakua, Pickens, but I think Andy's going to overpower him just based on everybody else on his team. I mean, I like CMC, but I just think Andy has the tools to go 4-0.
I also will go on record to say I think the Texans will beat the Steelers this week.
And he froze. But I did hear where you say Texans are going to beat the Steelers. I'm sure that's due to C.J. Stroud's, the Ohio State University quarterback.
That's part of it.
That's the main part. That's the only part that matters.
He's figuring it out.
What was that, Mark?
Hey.
He's figuring it out.
Yeah, and Bryce is on the bench.
He was injured. He's playing this week.
Soft Eastern Conference is all I'm hearing. Soft.
Listen, neither Ohio State or Alabama quarterbacks have translated to the NFL.
Hey, Brian.
What?
Who won the Ohio State Notre Dame game? In case people missed
it. The Ohio State University will not lose to Notre Dame. They haven't lost to them since 1930, some shit. A long ass time ago.
Back when Brian was a child.
Back when I was a child, my penis.
But
they
I
won.
was definitely around, so crap.
Because good old Kyle McCord. Old Kyle McCord, let's go. But
were you nervous? That last drive?
Of course I wasn't nervous. But no, it was a hell of a last drive. I know it's off the fantasy topic, but gee, many Christmas, dude. I thought they put up points, and neither one of them really did put up points. So
no,
it was a big defensive game. But I don't know. I hope the Bengals bounce back. I mean, I know they won, but I hope they get their offense kind of gets rolling.
I think they figured it out in the second half.
Yeah. I need Jamar to put up some fantasy points for me. Higgins in another league.
Yep.
Higgins had a rough night. He just could not catch the ball to save his life.
No. Nope, not
Yeah,
at all.
I heard that Joey B was full participant in practice today.
That's
I don't
good.
know why we didn't run the ball more, especially in the first half. Like again, it's not like our like identity to run the ball, but I mean, especially with his calf, and you can just tell in that first half, like he was getting no pressure on the backside of his leg.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just missing throws that he normally just like right in the hands.
Yep, you're right. You're definitely right with that. I did like the okie dokie did on the fake toss.
Oh yeah, it was good to see him get out of the pocket too and throw in the second half.
Oh, and I do want to mention, so we're talking about the Bengals, talk about a dog, Hendrickson.
Yeah.
The entire defense.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. But man, and then Dax Hill looked nice.
Dax Hill tried to decapitate Matt Stafford. He tried to ruin his career.
Mm-hmm. That's that Big Ten toughness there. They don't know about that in SEC.
Oh, okay. All right.
But all right. Quick talk about the Bengals. I guess we'll recap or wrap up is what I'm trying to say. I'm tired as hell. Wrap up this week. And next week, maybe we'll have a special guest, and we'll talk about that after we close out. But hopefully next week we'll have a special guest for you. And I think that's all we have for this week's episode. We will see you next week.
I have one more thing.
Go.
I want to shout out happy birthday to my dog, Bronx. Today's his 10th birthday.
Hey, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to the pups, yeah.
That's all. I want to shout him out.
No worries. Anytime. Next week.